Hey, it's been a while, everybody. Life, what can I say? It's just the last year was really rough on Lexi and I. I mean, I talked about that a few videos back. I've been doing some other stuff since then. I have a new job now too. I am a video game tester once again. So that's all fun and good. But I'm back and I decided something that we didn't do it the last time. But thankfully, we didn't know that like 4 months later, we do the Emmys again this year. It's, it's like we just did it. But I'm Justin. I'm here just because Lexi didn't feel confident enough to talk about the shows that were nominated. But someone who does feel confident about it is Brad.
Hello.
Hey, been a long time.
It has.
Yeah. I mean, we all chit-chat in our group chats, but it has been a while since I've done this just because, I was previously working some other jobs and I just didn't have the time or energy to do it. I was just so exhausted every day. So
yeah, I can understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, game testing has actually been a lot of fun. The sad thing is because we're a third-party contractor, we don't get paid as much as probably people who work internally for the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that'll change. I'm kind of shocked to say it that there's a guy who's he's kind of a receptionist / admin for the building.
Oh, okay.
And when I told him how much I was making as teacher, he just said it's like, I make more than that. Yeah. I'm like, this dude who mostly just handles, like administrative business up front gets paid more than I did handling all your bratty kids.
Yeah. That's why my brother stopped being a teacher, was because of the pay.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like teaching can be a fun job, and I had my struggles with it. I had my ups and downs, and Lexi honestly probably would have told me I needed to do stuff for my stress anyways with the teaching job because it was getting pretty stressful, to be fair.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. I'm actually enjoying this new job a lot better just because, I get to test video games all day. So what do you think?
Yeah. That's the experience, and you're good at it as well. It's not just...
Yeah. No, I mean... People who don't know, I tested for Life is Strange 3, the True Colors game. That was really fun. I actually was one of the higher test reporters on the case where I just bugs. I mean, I worked on that game for like 9 months. So yeah.
And I'm not saying that you're directly involved in the reason why it was better than 2, but it's probably the case.
I mean, it just was better than 2.
I mean, it literally was better than 2. So
different studio, different writers, different characters, just generally just a better game than 2. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know. Don't nod. I don't know what happened to them, man. But yeah. But I cannot tell you what I'm working on yet. When it happens, I will tell you guys. It's been pretty exciting, actually. But anyways, today we're talking about something else that's exciting for some of you. Although I have to imagine people just aren't as motivated for stuff as they used to be, because I went to go look at the Emmys wiki page, which usually is really up to date with like putting all the listings and the categories there. It's still not finished. like the creative arts, especially, because apparently nobody cares about below the line categories. There's still huge sections of it missing. Yeah. Shame on you folks. Shame on you folks who aren't me, who don't edit these things.
But I like to know about the animation categories, and I couldn't find anything about those anywhere. So
thankfully I have these things pulled up. So why don't we shift on over to our categories? Oh, gotta get you in there. There we go. Hey, and so we're gonna start off with the why don't we just start off at the top here with the main categories here. So we got Outstanding Comedy Series. This is gonna be interesting because there's a lot of these shows I've never seen and barely heard of. I mean, I'm aware of all of them, but don't know much. So comedy is Abbott Elementary, which I haven't caught up for in a couple seasons, but I like it. So no problems there. The Bear, the second least funny comedy series to ever win this category after Barry.
I'm trying to think, would you say specifically, if you had to, like aliens are invading and they're like, we're blowing up your planet unless you can tell us why the bear is funny, what episode would you reach for? Because I thought about this a lot, and there is one joke that always lands with me, and it's in the episode Forks. Is the episode Forks funny?
Anything featuring Eben Moss
Kinda.
Baccarat's usually the more funny
Yeah, because
episodes.
he's got really good comedic timing with his cast.
Oh yeah.
And Ava Berry occasionally, but there's so much trauma to her character that I'm kind of nervous about laughing at her jokes.
Well
But her
then,
and again, Eben Moss Baccarat are great together as comedians. Jeremy Allen White has not told a single joke this entire show, and I'm not sure.
even the
But I think he
actors.
could win in drama. Is what's weird. I think he could
Well,
win a
that's why
drama
they do it.
award.
Well,
But
that's why they do it because they know they can't win in drama. They're like,
right,
well, I mean, we marketed it as a comedy. Why don't we do that? It's like, but you guys haven't been funny in like several episodes. Yeah, but oh well.
it's like they send a. It's like The Office, but like in a kitchen, and the Emmy board is all like, okay, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
comedy. We
no, that's
we
kind
accept
of
your
how.
answer.
If you look at the commercials and then see the actual episodes, you'd be very confused as to
Yeah.
what the show. To be honest, though, if you saw a third season, you'd be very confused as to what the show's about either. Because
Right, because there's no jokes in the third season at all.
I haven't seen all third season, but even watching that first episode, I'm like, all right, it's The Bear directed by Terrence Malick, and I'm
Now,
like,
that's so interesting. Since I'm kind of a fan of Terrence Malick, I used to watch Baby Einstein with my kids, right?
what a
And
comparison. Terrence Malick and Baby Einstein in the
yeah.
same.
Well, there was a Simpsons joke years down the line. Homer walks in and goes, "What are you watching? Baby Einstein for adults?" And Lisa says, "It's a Terrence Malick movie, Dad." And my wife was all like, "Honey, is that your joke?" And I was all like, "No, I didn't. I didn't pitch my joke to the Simpsons." I guess a lot of people had that same thought, though.
I
So,
guess
anyways,
so.
my point is, I like the vibe of that, so I don't mind it. But when people are like, "So, what's the plot of season 3?" No idea. Just
It,
like,
well,
yeah,
I mean, The Bear has always been light on plot, but even that
that's
first
true.
episode, I'm like, I'd be hard pressed to tell you what the plot is. I can tell you what happened in it, but that doesn't really give you a story.
A lot of it is so much of a rehash of what we've already seen happen.
That's what was frustrating with that episode, where I'm like, it's just clips, new
Yeah,
sequences, new
we already
sequences
know
of
this
things we
stuff,
already knew. So, like,
and it
in
was
case you
kind
didn't,
of good, better the first time around. So
yeah, I mean, even nice to see Joel McHale back again, but I'm like, he's just doing more of the stuff he did in the first season. So,
mhm.
and yet, from what I've seen, yet he hasn't actually shown up in the show. Maybe that changes in the third season, but this is for second season, so that's
Right.
different. Yeah, second season was really good. So
I think
don't
second season is like a perfect season of TV. So
yeah, I mean, every episode I watched, I liked. So,
same.
Curb Your Enthusiasm for its final season, also, which it's amazing he actually called it quits after all these years.
I think so too. I don't know what seasons of this show I've watched since I just drift in and out of it, but I
I
always
mean,
laugh at Larry David's brand of comedy every time. He gets me
he's only
belly
made
laughing.
like 3 seasons in the last several years.
Yeah,
Even
well, that explains that then.
well, because I mean, he takes long
So
gaps in
silly.
the last few years. Like, heck, I forget that the Seinfeld season was like 10 years ago now, maybe more.
Really?
It was a while ago. I can't remember when that happened, but it was not recent.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Hacks is up again, which again, really great comedy show that I've not seen a single episode of.
Yeah, that's the one so far that I haven't seen any of either.
Yeah. I hear people like it. I know Chris, one of our old my old associates, he really liked the show. And I know I think Frank said he liked the show too. One of our friends. So yeah, I'm sure it's great. Then Only Murders in the Building, which I watched several episodes of. I like it. It's not my favorite, but I like it.
Yeah, I actually like the trio a lot. The mystery they're involved in, I have never been entertained by.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's like
But short, Gomez and Martin all doing their thing. I find it hilarious. Love watching those three. Never have cared about the mystery in the seasons.
Yeah, it's kind of whatever. And this is the Meryl
Yeah.
Streep season specifically too, which I mean, that's the way they market it. It's like, which one's that? Oh, it's the one with Meryl Streep in it.
Yeah.
Okay. Palm Royal, which again, never knew existed until I saw people predicting it. So I'm like, what is this show?
Was that this year? Or
I mean,
was that
technically
just
it was
recently?
it was June of last year to May of this year. So
Someone who's the famous person in that? Oh, that's right.
uh
Okay, I recognize the poster. I have Apple TV. This pops up all the time.
okay. Yeah, no, it's a thing. So
Is this because White Lotus was popular? Like that's my first
probably
inclination seeing the poster.
Again, this is our uneducated opinion on that one, people. We're sorry. Something I'm more educated on though is Reservation Doc, which got its we're sorry we ignored you for so many seasons award.
Mhm.
Because
See, with this one deals with some heavy trauma and generational or otherwise,
Mhm.
but does have incredible comedy in it,
Yeah, no, it
and the
can be really
jokes
funny, and
land. So
it's
it's
very
interesting.
much in the same vein as something like Barry at its prime was.
Yeah,
Where it's like
in
it
its
could be
early
really
season.
serious, but also be really really funny. So,
Absolutely.
and then What We Do in the Shadows came back into the comedy fold again. So, hey, good.
I'm surprised that one hasn't won a lot of awards
You
because
know,
everybody seems to love it, critical and audience wise.
yes, but also I think at this phase in its life cycle, it's kind of gotten to the routine phase of like,
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, because what this is episode 5 or 6, I want to say,
Mhm.
because we talked about seasons 2, like pandemic time, I think. So yeah, it's one of those things where I think it's just that it is good, but because it's such a weak year where so little came out, it had probably very little competition to get back in. So speaking of little competition, drama is not going to be interesting.
Drama.
So The Crown got its, hey, it's your last season, here's your nomination.
Have you talked to anybody who's liked the last season?
I haven't talked to anybody who saw the last season.
My mom-in-law, shout out Denise, watches every season, and she's just an expert. Expert's not the right word. She knows about the royal family, anyways. You know, good citizen Canadians know about the royal family. And she begrudgingly hated the last season, even though
Yeah,
she loved the other ones. So,
everyone
bummer.
seemed to say that this one got very complacent and dour with itself.
Hmm.
I mean, but to be fair, season 5 was also argued for the same thing, where it's
Right.
like season 4 was its peak in terms of popularity, and then it almost went straight down with the Imelda Staunton seasons, which is a shame because I love Imelda Staunton and Jonathan Price and all the
Yeah,
people who were
same.
involved in this. So that's just a bummer to hear. I mean, and even the ending episode pretty much ends like some kind of weird Avengers reunion with all the actors who played the Queen.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a thing. A show that I did actually watch and loved was Fallout, which is up for. Okay, so in terms of most nominations, we'll talk about it in a sec, but Shogun got the most with 25, and then The Bear was second with 23. But Fallout didn't, go empty-handed. It got nominated for 16 Emmys this year.
Now, the biggest fallout, unless the numbers I've looked at are incorrect, the fallout phenomenon is that it looks so much like it should, and yet its budget isn't destroying Amazon Prime. Like, it's actually a very well budgeted show, is what I've read.
Well, Amazon's also a multi-trillion-dollar company, and then
Yeah.
you got Bethesda, who actually produced it directly. In this case, normally a video game
Ah,
company.
okay.
Well, and that's why they had so
There
much.
you go.
Well, that's why they had so much creative input on the show, is because Todd Howard and the people from Bethesda directly involved themselves with the project, because it was more or less his idea and the people at ZeniMax, because they're like, okay, we've made video games, we made a mobile game, TV show is the next option, pretty much.
So the success of the video game adaptation would be that someone, a part of the creative team, is actually involved in the adaptation. It seems like
Hmm.
Druckmann in The Last of Us, right? Wasn't he like
Yep.
directly on
Well,
staff?
Druckmann wrote and directed some episodes too.
Wow.
So
Well,
yeah,
there you go. So we've
yeah, no,
solved the riddle of how
yeah.
to
Get
adapt
get
correctly.
people who care, and you'll make good shows. Who would have thought, right? Yeah. Speaking of care, I guess somebody cares enough about the Gilded Age because it's nominated, even though
I'm not sure what that is. Yeah.
it's the new show from the Downton Abbey guy. It's
Oh, okay.
basically it's
No, I know
Downton
what that
Abbey
is.
set in America in the 1910s or something like that.
Yeah.
It's Downton Abbey. You either like
Yeah.
it or you don't.
Respect for saying Downton Abbey instead of Downtown Abbey, like it's so
I
often
know how to
referred to.
read, thankfully. Sometimes I'm an American. I don't know. My degrees are just for show. I bought them off of I don't know, some online college.
I used to say Downtown Abbey until my wife was like, "Please stop
Downtown.
calling it that. Stop. That's not what it's called."
That
You're
feels like
embarrassing me.
that feels like a Mad TV skit where they have
Right.
Downtown Abbey. The elite in the small urban or ghetto area kind of thing. It's exquisite, dog.
Yeah.
But anyways, the morning show. This show just keeps sticking
I've seen a
around.
couple episodes. I'm not a fan of shows about journalism, and not because I think journalists are bad. I'm not one of those types.
Let
I
me say
just
this:
think,
did you like the Newsroom? Also, it feels very much like the Newsroom.
yeah, I didn't care for the newsroom.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah,
And I just feel there's too much. I'm not a big fan of protagonists with their heads way up their own ass. And when you can retroactively write a
oh
response to
boy,
something like the newsroom, and I'm not trying to trash the newsroom. I know a lot of people like that. But when so many self-righteous actor characters are all like, how could they not know that BP was bad? Like, oh, come on, man. You're writing. This is a show written in hindsight. That's not
yeah.
fair.
Oh yeah, no, this is totally that show. Like we're talking about trendy topics that will be very relevant in 10 years.
Yeah.
Because like that's the problem with making a show too topical, where it's like you can be really good and topical, but unless the situation actually matters in the grand scheme of things, 10 years from now, people are gonna go like, I don't get it. What's so special about that? you
Right.
know?
It's like a show that doesn't really have relatable themes outside of, remember that?
I
Remember
wonder
how
I
that
wonder
went?
if any future seasons will address the kind of major gigantic thing that happened this weekend. Just saying.
Yeah. Well,
Probably
oh
not.
man, you said 4 seasons now of the morning show?
So I think this is for the 3rd season, and they got renewed for a 4th season. I believe. Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
I know it's a little show that could. It's just keeps sticking around apparently. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I don't know a single person who watched the show.
I was able to watch this entire show.
Did you really? Oh.
I think it's hilarious. I thought it was going to sweep the comedy side of the awards.
They see the market as a comedy, like an action
right?
comedy.
Like I thought maybe The Bear and Mr. and Mrs. Smith could switch places, and I don't think they would do any worse if they did switch places. The only thing I didn't like about Mr. and Mrs. Smith is, and it's not even that I didn't like about it, so many people were like hashtag relationship goals, and my response to that was, but they hate each other.
Yeah.
And
what are they talking about? What are they talking about?
I'm not a part of that new hate is love trend that's been pretty big lately. So
those people must also like
the cameos in Mr. and Mrs. Smith are worth a watch through. John Turturro, for example, is one of my favorite actors all time. So is Ron Perlman. I don't mean to give away like surprise cameos if you haven't seen it.
We may give away a few in the guest actor category.
Yeah, but that's why I watched every week because they were so fun. And Hiro Murai is involved in a lot of the direction. And anytime he's involved in a TV show,
we'll see it later. He's up for directing as well for the show.
Yeah, it's very exciting looking. Everything he's touched looks incredible. From Barry to Atlanta to Mr. and Miss Smith. There's stuff that happens in his episodes where you're like, how did they do that on a TV show?
He has a very distinct visual style that he's created for. Like even when like say Station 11, which I didn't love, but he has a very distinct look whenever he directs the episodes of that show, kind of thing. So, but anyways, Shogun was the gigantic, 300-pound gorilla in the room because it took away 25 nominations this year.
That's pretty cool. This is my favorite of the dramas nominated.
It's my favorite, and it angers me because it should be a limited series. Why are there going to be 2 more seasons of this show? There's one book, and they finished it.
Yeah, my brother, who's an avid reader, I reached out to him, and I'm all like, that was a very conclusive ending, so that's got me kind of frazzled. What happens next in the book? And he's like, Brad, it's over.
That's literally the ending. That's literally how the book ends.
Whoa,
yeah, the book
I didn't know
ends
that
with
something so cool could have an ending. Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's just going to be fan fiction for the next 2 seasons. And I'm like,
it'll probably be noticeable too, which is so sad.
Well, because the thing is, I'm sorry, James Clavell is an Australian who wrote a story about Japanese culture. The whole point is that it's a book based on an outsider perspective of Japanese culture. If you try to ruin that or get people who don't understand what he understood, being that he was Australian and a World War II vet who was in an internment camp in Japan for years, you're kind of missing the perspective that he brought into the story. And also the fact that James Clavell is just a great writer, so
yeah, that's exactly why my brother has heard and read several of his books.
Which honestly, if they wanted to keep this up, what they should have done instead is make it an anthology and adapt a new James Clavell novel. He has
that could be the case. That could still be the case.
Maybe if they do it that way, that'd be great. It wouldn't be Shogun anymore. But King Rat's great, apparently. I haven't read that book yet, but that's the one that's directly that is the one that's directly inspired off his internment camp experience in a Japanese by the Japanese. So, yeah, no, I mean, because he lived there for however long. That's how it was that weird thing where even though they were enemies, he also grew in the kind of the same way Cosmo Jarvis did. He developed that kind of understanding, like, you guys are my enemies, but I'm so fascinated by how alien you are to me, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but he wrote a lot of great books. I mean, so that's just frustrating that the reason they did it, I suspect, is because you notice who's involved producing that? FX.
Yeah.
DC, they also produced The Bear.
Mm-hmm.
And DC, they also produced Fargo. I'm sure in their ideal world, they will sweep all 3 major series categories.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure there was some strategic thinking in that. So
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Slow Horses finally broke in through the race also in its 3rd season, I believe, for this one.
This is something I haven't watched, but my mom-in-law, Denise, shout out Denise. I'll just call her mom sometimes.
That's fine.
She loves it.
Yeah.
And we're big. Is this the Gary Oldman show?
Yes. My parents watch it too, and they love it as well. So.
Yeah. Gary Oldman in a show getting awards. That's it. That's all you have to do to convince me.
Yeah. No, I watched the pilot episode. It's really good. Like, I hear it gets better after the pilot episode because the pilot was good. It didn't exactly like, oh, I got to see every episode. I'm like, oh, I'll probably come back to this one, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very like it feels very much in line with like what you expect from a solid spy thriller kind of thing. So
yeah.
And then last, I feel so terrible commenting on this. I've seen so few of these shows, but The 3-Body Problem. Hey guys, it's the Game of Thrones dudes, Benioff and Weiss.
Now, did you see any of this show?
Not a second. I saw the trailer.
Huge fan of the book. The show is fine,
which is weird because then there's an actual Chinese adaptation that's made in China by Chinese people, and this one's the whitewashed, watered down version of the story.
Because all the characters are they're no longer
there are some, but then they add in British and
the story doesn't work at all unless it starts in China during the those type of riots that were going on in the 70s.
It's weird.
It's disappointing in a way that everything that made me ponder the universe in a unique way, like, oh, whoa, so that's how astrophysics works. Or, oh, wow, so that's how time dilation works when you travel through space. That's neat. And the show, it's not interested in any of that. It's pretty much, are aliens coming to kill us? We think so. Whoa, scary. Am I right? And
that sure sounds like Benioff and Weiss to me.
Right. There is a sequence of extravagant spectacle that I won't spoil.
Sure.
I think it's episode 5. And it is incredible looking because Benioff and Weiss, again, they know how to make you go, wow, that looks like a horrible way to be killed. So I would recommend it to any fans of the book to watch it and just muscle through, because there are events that happen in the book where you'd be thinking, well, you can't film that, not without like a James Cameron budget. They find a way, and it does look amazing. All the big ideas and what made you think about the book, and maybe I'm sounding like a snotty, reader, but they're kind of
you are the guy who reads the books.
Yeah,
that's what I know about you. You read the books.
it's just there's so many like cool ideas to contemplate. Like, it makes you contemplate, we should send a message out in the space. Wait a second, what message? And what if it's misinterpreted? Like, that's a pretty neat idea. None of that is in the show.
Yeah. I mean, now, to be fair, from what I know,
it's just they send a message in the show, and that's
the stuff I know about the book. Like, some of those ideas are very hard to visualize, I'm sure.
Absolutely, they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would probably be very boring.
Yeah.
People would say, Brad, you like a very boring TV show until the spectacle hits. And I could respect that.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, there's a place for that stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, limited and anthology seasons. Baby Reindeer, the one that kind of just came out of nowhere, and everyone's like, well, hello, what's this? Essentially.
Yeah. I don't know if I know more about this show or about the current lawsuits, but
yeah, I heard about that from Lexi. The funny thing is, they changed the name of the person, and most people would not know who she was until she outed herself during that lawsuit. So it's like, well, you're kind of just self-fulfilling the prophecy for yourself, lady. So
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Right. That's
yeah, no,
fascinating.
yeah, it's just a
You
whole
know,
thing.
Netflix is just rubbing their like everyone's like, how's Netflix going to get out of this one? But they're rubbing their hands like, oh my gosh, this is 3 seasons worth of documentary.
Well, Netflix is definitely,
This is our new Tiger King.
they're laughing their way to the ceremony because they
Yeah.
dominated all the channels this year with 107 nominations too. So
Yeah, it's a beloved show in our house, Baby
yeah.
Reindeer.
Fargo season 5 also was nominated, which I heard was an improvement for the previous
I haven't
season.
seen it. I like
I
John
haven't either.
Hamm, but I haven't
Yeah,
seen this.
we actually watched the trailer right before we started doing this the discussion here with me and Lexi. Looks fine. I mean, looks like more of what Fargo is. Like,
Mhm.
I feel sad because I love the first season. I really like the second season a lot too. Third season, I've tried to watch it twice, like start and go all the way through. I could never actually get past the first several
Yeah, I
episodes.
haven't finished the 3rd season either.
It's so boring.
That was my
it's
drop-off point from Fargo because it was so
Mhm.
boring.
And I didn't watch season 4 because everyone just told me how much it was a huge mess. Even
Yeah.
I did watch the bits where they introduced Tim the Oliphant's character. And I'm like, oh, a Mormon character in television. Ah, he's such a cartoon. He chews on carrots. It's like, again, people write Mormons the way they write aliens. They're just weirdos who come in and everyone's baffled by them. That's just how their
You
characters
know,
are.
it's
And then they die.
Yeah, it's interesting you put it that way because a lot of the time I live in a big Mormon town and I never assume anything about anything. Sorry, Latter-day Saint
Sure.
town.
Yeah. I know. I'm
And
using that for just the term that everyone knows.
generally, someone will either tell me or I'll ask because, like, oh, so what faith do you go to in this town? And they'll say, and I won't be like, of course you are, because like you said earlier, kind of just people, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
with different
There
likes.
are the weirdo Mormons, but Latter-day Saints. I know, even I start saying that.
Yeah.
But you know, they don't represent me. I'm just gonna say that. If we can say that about other people, those
Like
people don't represent me.
there's like tons of cliches you can do about Mormons when you're writing a TV show, but they never work in real life. Like if I said, "Oh, so you guys like the Utah Jazz?" Everyone in this town would be like, "Hell no."
They haven't been good in years, to be fair. So
Yeah, no, and that is fair. Yeah.
Lessons in Chemistry. I never watched this, but I actually saw the book at a Barnes and Noble the other day, and I'm like, oh right, it is based on a book.
Well, I've read and watched this too.
Oh.
Same complaints about Three Body Problem. And I'm being bitter. I'm so bitter. My favorite part from the book didn't make the cut in the TV show, so I'm just mad. But I think Brie Larson is an inspired casting for Elizabeth Zott,
Sure.
and love that. I love that the dog gets an episode like in the book, so that's very cool.
It's
And
nice to see Brie Larson in something where she's trying again. You know.
yeah, where it's not just all right, Checktown, which is fine. That's how I would be. I would always work for checks above art, and that's why I'm not an artist.
You know what? I never realized that until how poor I could actually get. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I totally see it. I get it.
But yeah, I'd recommend the TV show and the book, even if you love the book.
All right, cool. Ripley, which I didn't actually watch, but I'm so fascinated by it because the trailers look great. I love the people who are in charge of directing and writing it. Robert Elswit shot it, who shot There Will Be Blood. A lot of great actors I like.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautifully shot.
Oh yeah, I just haven't watched it yet. I mean, I saw the movie, the Talented Mr. Ripley, which I actually
with
really
Matt
like.
Damon.
Yeah, I like that one a lot actually. So, so I'm curious to see how this one is translated.
Yeah. I've read this book too by Patricia Highsmith.
A lot of people have, thankfully.
This is an incredible adaptation. I think the movie is too. This is so fascinating to me. How could the movie be a great adaptation and this TV series? It blows the mind.
The story is just such a fascinating character study, you know.
Yeah.
So like it just works. It just in itself.
I kind of like Andrew Scott a little bit better, but I'm not sure if it's because Matt Damon's become Matt Damon to me. You know what I mean?
Matt Damon.
Like, oh, look, it's Matt Damon. Like, I can't say, oh, look, that's Andrew Scott from like 15 Things. You know what I mean? But Matt Damon.
I mean, I can say that, but Andrew Scott
that's
also
impressive.
is much more. He's a more versatile actor, I think.
I agree, actually, yeah. I love this.
They tried less to sell him like a marketable thing like Matt Damon, because Matt Damon is bigger than himself at this point, where Andrew Scott still is a very, like, you know, he's not a superstar, but people know who he is.
Yeah.
And then True Detective is also present.
Didn't finish this season. I've always had a hard time finishing True Detective after season 1, though.
Well, that season 2 was such a disaster. So
Yeah.
yeah, and now new showrunner, new main characters, new focus. Okay, still wasn't enough to convince me. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, sure, fine.
Something about it's cold outside was the theme of the.
It's
Yeah, I
interesting
don't
too
know.
that True Detectives also bounced from categories because originally the first season was in drama, and now it's back to anthology where it should have stayed.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane. I got nothing to say about these next few categories because I don't watch them.
Same.
Bye-bye.
I don't watch any reality programming.
Yeah. Bye-bye, all of you.
Yeah. Very good. Good job, everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I got. There you go. Well, yay. I'm doing my Emmy award clap. Yeah.
We still have reality shows. Yeah. Talk shows. Yeah. Yay. Question mark. But yeah, moving on.
The Oscars are up for an Emmy. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Lead actor in a comedy series, Matt Beery, is up for the first time for What We Do in the Shadows, which good. He's great.
Yeah,
He's really funny.
Agree.
And
Long time coming.
He's great in Fallout for his voice performance too, and his actual performance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Larry David for playing Larry David.
Funny guy.
Yeah, funny guy. Steve Martin and Martin Short. It's interesting because you remember last time Steve Martin was snubbed for the category.
Oh.
Yeah, snap. So I think enough people are like, hey, you should vote for Steve Martin too. They're a duo pair. You take one, you get the other, kind of thing.
Yeah, like the Three Amigos, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Jeremy Allen White, the least funny actor in this category.
Yeah, it's probably the Vegas betting favorite too, is what's so funny.
Well, I mean, he is really, really good in it, so that's
absolutely that's true.
The one that surprised me, and I'm so happy because I actually really like this actor, is Defaro Wunatai.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I think he was very underrated for a while, but I'm like, even first season when I watched and reviewed it, I'm like, this dude's good. He's really good at the show.
And the final season has so much heavy lifting to close it all out as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, they only got 3 seasons, but that's more than some shows do, to be fair. So
yeah.
Lead actors in a comedy series, Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary. She won this before.
I think she's the favorite as well for this.
I don't know, because now she has to directly compete with Ayo Edebiri again. So
that's true.
Yeah, because Quinta Brunson won one year. Ayo Edebiri won. Was she supporting last year or was she lead?
I think it might have been supporting, but I'm not sure.
I think so, but now they're competing head to head, so this is gonna be interesting.
There it is.
Selena Gomez. I think this actually is her first time being nominated for this role.
I like it. I think she's been. It's crazy how good she is on this show. I missed out on a lot of her Disney shows growing up.
You didn't.
So I had no idea that she'd be anything more than, "Hi, I'm Selena Gomez. I was in a Disney show." Like I thought that's literally what her character would be.
I mean, that's kind of what she. I mean, even when she cameoed and stuff like The Big Short, it's just and pop star Selena Gomez. You know,
that's right.
Yeah, but hey, to her credit, I don't think she's the greatest in the show. But she's been consistent and steady with it. So I'm like, you know what? Fine. It's been such a weak year. I don't mind, kind of thing. Maya Rudolph for a show I've never heard of.
I've heard of this. Big Maya Rudolph fan. I don't watch it because I don't know. I'm just not a fan of, oh man, being wealthy is so hard.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. And it's good because it's not hard. And that's the joke, that she's rich and it's not exactly difficult
because it's a topic
hard to watch because
it's a topic that all of us can relate to, right? The struggles of being the third richest woman in the world. Yeah. Oh, I totally get you. I understand.
I don't know how I do it, but yeah, it's too. And I'm, again, huge fan of Maya Rudolph, but I can't handle that topic right now.
Fair enough.
Barf,
Gene Smart and Hacks, another previous winner. So that's gonna be interesting. We got 3 big Emmy contenders here.
People love Hacks.
And then Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, I haven't seen Palm Royal, but yeah.
No,
she's got Emmys from SNL, right?
Yes, I also think she's highly overrated. Personally, I don't really care for Kristen Wiig's acting myself.
I don't know much of her acting outside of. Oh, yes, I do. No, I do.
Skeleton Twins, I thought she was
Skeleton Twins. I was
okay.
about to say that with Bill
Ghostbusters,
Hader,
she was
right?
awful in.
I can't really recall her character.
Yeah, exactly.
Was she one of the Maya Rudolph? Was she one of the bridesmaids? Was she in that?
Yes, she wrote
Yeah.
Bridesmaid. So,
oh wow,
yeah, she has. Yeah, no, she has an Oscar.
Crazy.
She has an Oscar nomination for writing, but
Wow.
I just think that her acting is just like, there's a reason why I don't really pay attention to her very much.
Right.
Drama series, Idris Elba for another show from Apple TV I've never heard of.
Our mutual friend Nate kept pitching this show to watch, and I was like, "Well, what is it?" And he's like, "Idris Elba on a plane," and I'm like, "That does sound." I'm actually intrigued by that. That's a good pitch.
Say no more. I'm sold.
I haven't watched it yet, but that's pretty much what it is, I guess.
But now I have to ask, how do you sustain that for more than one season?
Right, like more than one episode.
Idris Elba even. On another plane. Donald Glover. Okay, sure, for Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
As John Smith - Michael. Okay, because he doesn't really have a name in the show because John Smith is a code name.
Mm-hmm. One I'm happy about that I did see was Walton Goggins in Fallout. I mean, he's the only actor in the entire show who got recognized, which fair enough. He is the best actor in the show.
This is my second favorite lead actor nomination.
Oh yeah, same. I thought,
and I know Walton Goggins has a bunch of awards from his youth that everyone forgot that he had, but I'd like to see him win again.
He never won for Justified, but I know he's been in other stuff that people have paid attention to from him.
And he has an Oscar, I guess, for a short film.
Oh, is he really?
It's like some strange trivia. Walton Goggins Oscar short film, like years ago.
Well, it's like you say with Riz Ahmed, who won an Oscar for a short film.
Right.
Freaking Johnny from Karate Kid is an Oscar-nominated short film director.
That's amazing.
I know. I looked it up and I'm like,
I love that trivia.
I know. Like William Sapka is an Oscar nominee. That's amazing. Gary Oldman for Slow Horses. I mean, everyone loves him in the show. Yeah. So honestly, Hiroki Sanada, who's going to win.
I think so too.
Yeah, honestly,
this is an incredible performance.
I mean, it's a great breakout for him for not speaking a single word in English, but he's just so good. He's so captivating in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great role too. Even back in the now I'm not seeing the whole thing, but the original Shogun miniseries.
Wasn't he a part of that too, as well?
Oh, sorry.
Wasn't Hiroki Sanada a part of that as well? The original.
If he was, he was super young because that show. I mean, that came out in 81 or 2, I think. Like shortly after the book came out. So
put a pin in that comment section and let me know if I'm speaking nonsense.
And then Dominic West. Moving on.
He seems too handsome to be, and that's rude of me to say. I'm already saying it's rude, but he seems way too handsome to be Prince Charles, doesn't he?
And Prince Charles is like, excuse me, King Charles, and I look amazing.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And I look wonderful.
God save the king. Yes.
Mummy
we
says
hope he makes an outstanding recovery. Yes.
Oh right, yeah, he is.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Lead actor of the drama series, Jennifer Aniston for The Morning Show. Again, a show that I know also exists. And Reese Witherspoon for the show too. Carrie Coon for The Gilded Age. I forgot that she was in this show. So
love Carrie Coon from The Leftovers. Actually, is my favorite performance of hers.
Yeah, that's the one that everyone discovered her for. Really. So.
Yeah. Oh, really? Cool.
Well, she was in other stuff. Like she was in Gone Girl as well around the same time as Ben Affleck's sister. But then that was her big breakout. Was Leftovers.
Well, she has a great monologue in Gone Girl when she calls him out finally, and it's kind of all like, "Stop playing the victim. You love the drama." It's a great monologue.
Oh,
but I might check out The Gilded Age now that I know she's in it.
But fair enough. Maya Erskine for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Now, I feel like I've seen Maya Erskine in other stuff.
You definitely have. And she's the standout in the show, I think, as far as not a cameo goes.
Well, because also, she was in...
I think she carries the show,
Man-Seeking Woman. That's where I saw her in once. But yeah, no, she's a good actor. I like her. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think it's one of those things where Donald Glover's a fine actor, but I think... He kind of just plays Donald Glover in a lot of stuff. So
yeah, I can respect
very special. Yeah. Anna Sawai for Shogun, who, I mean, unless they just really want to give a sympathy vote for Imelda Staunton, I think Anna should win. But
yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that
100%. Honestly, between these 6, it's too tight. Like, no one's got a definite, like the same way that Haruki Sanada is the favorite for actor. I don't think it's a guarantee anyone's safe in that category.
Agree.
Yeah, but I would give it to Anna because I thought Anna did a really great job in Shogun.
Same, same.
And she was in Monarch, which she was really good in too. So, yeah, the Godzilla show. Lead actor in an anthology. I mean, this is gonna be quick. I haven't seen most of these, but Matt Bomer in Fellow Travelers, which I've not seen, but I like Matt Bomer. He's a good actor. So
same, yeah.
Richard Gadd for playing the lead in Baby Reindeer. I mean, for most of these actors, this show was a huge breakout for them. So John Hamm in Fargo. I mean, I saw the trailer for this. He's just kind of a big, like, I'm Sheriff Roy Tillman kind of thing. So
yeah.
And yet people say he's probably going to win. So Tom Hollander for Feud playing Truman Capote, which I am kind of shocked by that, but he was good.
Have you seen it?
I've only seen some clips of it, but the problem is there's already been some very high bars set for Truman Capote performances.
Absolutely, there has. Yes,
you got Philip Seymour Hoffman, who won the Oscar, but then you got what's his name?
The one who played Capote in Infamous, I think the film was called.
Yes, where he played a very different Capote.
Yeah,
it's not my favorite performance, but people really like that performance too.
Yeah.
So you're already measuring up to some really, really heavy hitters playing Capote as well.
Absolutely. The best thing I can say about Feud is I can't recommend watch it, but Tom Hollander isn't just doing a character. He's not like, hey, I'm talking like this, so that's it. No. He's playing a real human being with thoughts and feelings. And I appreciated that. Hoffman and the other man, though, are incredible in Capote and in Infamous. So it is a very unfair bar.
Toby Jones. Toby Jones is the guy.
Yeah, Toby Jones. Thank you.
Yeah,
they're amazing. Yeah, Toby Jones is actually my favorite Capote. Yeah, and I loved Philip Seymour Hoffman in Capote.
I think the thing is that Infamous, maybe he's a more accurate Capote portrayal, but Capote the movie I think is better than Infamous.
No, you're probably right. It is a much more enjoyable movie. I will say the worst Capote I've ever seen was Zero the Hutt in the Clone Wars movie.
Jabba the Hutt's drag queen cousin or whatever.
Yeah.
Or uncle.
He was just doing a Capote impression, right? It was all like, oh, you gotta find my baby. Like, yeah.
Just a reminder.
That was intentional.
That was written by the same guy who brought us the Clone Wars and the Mandalorian and all the other stuff.
That's amazing. That's pretty cool.
The Phoenix career of Dave Filoni is quite a story. And then Andrew Scott. Yeah, of course.
I've already praised Andrew Scott, but yes.
Yeah, we've said enough about him. Jodie Foster for Night Country, going on to limited actress here. I mean, cool. Jodie Foster was pretty much apparently the main reason to watch the show. So
yeah, I've always liked Jodie Foster.
Yeah. Brie Larson, already mentioned about that. She's really good, in a lot of things. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's nice where she can remind people she's not just Captain Marvel. Like, she's like a good actress.
Yeah. And I think I said earlier, inspired Elizabeth Zott choice.
Oh, so, yeah.
That's cool. I even remember the character. Good for me.
Yeah. Juno Temple in Fargo. Good.
Juno Temple, always great. Yeah.
She's free from Ted Lasso to do other things. So, Sofia Vergara in Griselda, which is...
I haven't heard anything good about this show. Have you seen it?
I've not seen it. I know Lexi talked about it with somebody else, and apparently the lady's actual family have come out and say, like, oh, no, Sofia Vergara is not prettier than our mother. Our mother was a smoking beauty and that stuff. And then you see the actual photos of her.
Okay.
Like, I think they were much more flattering. And then Naomi Watts in Feud.
Naomi Watts was actually my favorite performance from Feud.
Fair enough.
I mean that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a good one.
It's sad because Naomi Watts is a great actress, but it feels like it's the old quote people say that when Ridley Scott makes a film, God flips a coin. It's it's kind of the same with Naomi Watts, unfortunately. She either is in really, really great stuff or stuff you'll never watch again.
Well, playing Lady Di in that forgettable movie, like, destroyed her career for like a couple years.
That and then her cameo in movie 43, where she was with her husband at the time.
No.
Yeah, where she was like essentially playing a weird incestuous thing with her son in the story. That was embarrassing.
That sucks.
And then I know she's had a few others lately where it's like,
The Ring 2 was terrible. That
movie that she was in where her and another woman are having affairs with each other's sons.
Yeah. I remember.
Oh, God. Talk about some movies that, the Diana film and that film and some other films are like, Naomi Watts, you go stay home for a little bit. Come back in a few years. We'll talk.
Like Justin Timberlake and Andy Samberg made a comedy about that very idea. Right. Remember that? The Mother Lover song?
I
and there are certain dramas that no matter how serious the score sounds, it's like you realize this is ridiculous, right? This is
Yeah,
absurd and stupid and
gross.
ridiculous.
Oh boy. All right, so powering through some of these here. Lionel Boyce for the Bears for supporting comedy series. For those who don't know, he's the guy who's the pastry chef in the show. He really stepped up second season, I think.
Yeah, the Copenhagen episode's wonderful.
Paul W. Downs for Hacks. If I recall, the most I know about Paul Downs is that I think he's also on some podcasts like How Did This Get Made and some other stuff. So,
oh yeah, I like him a lot. That's a favorite podcast of mine.
Yeah, mine too. But yeah, I've never seen Hacks, but I know he's funny.
Either, yeah.
Yeah. Emma Moss-Baccarat, who won last year, will probably win again this year.
Yeah, Forks is the best episode of TV I saw of this Emmy Awards.
The sad thing is they submitted the Fishes episode because that was the most highly publicized one.
Oh man,
I know. I like Forks just as much. Like
Forks is my favorite.
Yeah, the problem is like yes, the Fishes is much more in the spirit of season 1 Bear, where like chaos reigns essentially. Right. Forks is a much more mature story, and I think that's why I liked it more because it's the awakening of Richie essentially, like him becoming a real person, and I loved it. I thought it was great. Yeah. So that episode should win the Emmy though. Like that episode alone was like one of my favorite episodes too. Yeah. Paul Rudd, I forgot he was in Only Murders in the Building.
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't. I knew he was there for a bit. He's just playing himself, right?
Yeah, I mean, I recall him from the trailers, but yeah, it's Paul Rudd. What do you expect?
Doing his thing.
Tyler James Williams. I mean, he's been consistently funny the whole time. So
agreed.
And Bowen Yang.
I don't remember. I haven't seen it.
I know. I was just trying to think of like, have I seen Bowen Yang in anything I remember?
I didn't know Saturday Night Live still got nominations.
I think he's the only one this year, actually. In terms of major acting, I think guest actor they got one for Ryan Gosling.
I mean, I watched the. How am I forgetting his name? He was so funny and so popular right now. He plays Mando.
Oh, Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. That's the only SNL episode I've watched in decades.
Well, that's the trend with SNL is that they have one great episode in a season of not much, like they'll have that one episode you go, did you see the one with so-and-so guest starring?
Yeah.
That's the only one to watch, but it was great,
David S. Pumpkins and Pedro Pascal, the only episodes I've watched in years.
All right, so then supporting actors in comedy series, Carol Burnett and Palm Royale, which, Carol Burnett's legendary, so of course. Lisa Collins-Zayas for The Bear, who plays Tina, the Hispanic, chef who's in the kitchen there.
Yeah, she has an episode that kind of focuses on her called Napkins this season, and it's incredible. And I'm thinking, are they nominating her based on that? Or
no, this is for her second season. So.
Okay.
Yeah, but she was good in second season. Like, her character's shown the most growth of most characters in the show. Because I hated her in the first season, but then, like, I hated her in the way that you hate a mean girl, but then you learn more about her and she develops. And you're like, oh, yeah, I see why. So
exactly.
Hannah Einbinder, which I believe she's also one of the creators in the show too. If I'm not mistaken.
Cool.
But yeah, so she's up for that. Janelle James and Cheryl Lee Ralph. They've both been nominated before, and they're both great on Abbott Elementary. So,
and Cheryl Lee Ralph got told she was nominated live because she was the presenter with Tony Hale, right?
Right. Yeah, she did.
That was really fun. That was a super fun moment. Tony Hale was so excited. It was really fun to see. So
yeah, well, they both won Emmys now, so that's great. And then Meryl Streep, who's probably going to win the category.
Of course. I mean, that just seems like a
That just it's become such a joke now. Like, I don't want to do that because Meryl Streep is a good actress, but it's just a joke of like, well, it's Meryl Streep. She's always going to win, right?
Yeah.
Even though she hasn't won an Oscar in 13 years.
Yeah.
Anyway, supporting actor in drama, Tadanobu Asana and Takahiro Hira, both in Shogun, got nominated, which, recalling both who they are, they're both great. Like, because I think one of them was the traitorous dude.
I would say he was more opportunistic.
I mean, by definition, he's a traitor, like in that sense. But yes.
I mean, everything is like on the edge of a sword, man.
To be fair,
it's hard for me to like really go with the word traitor when
half the cast
you're like life or so many life or death decisions.
Yeah. Billy Crudup, who has actually won this, I think, more than once, actually, for the morning show.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Billy Crudup's a great actor who finally got his, like,
I do agree with that. Yeah.
he finally got his comeuppance, like getting, like, actually represented for this kind of stuff. Mark Duplass, who I haven't seen around in anything for a while, and John Hamm, all three for the morning show.
Huh.
Okay. That must mean there's some
Duplass, but yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time.
very weak competition this year,
Yeah,
apparently.
that's weird, right?
Jack Loudon for Slow Horses, who is really good in this show. So,
good.
really fair. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, he's technically kind of co-lead, but, he's not as high profile as Gary Oldman. So, now maybe that's changed by later seasons, but the show starts with him. So,
yeah.
But anyways, and then Jonathan Pryce. What can I say? Jonathan Pryce is a great actor. So,
yeah, I hope it's him because he's alive and should be acknowledged.
Yeah, actually, I don't know who would actually win this. I mean, Billy Crudup might just get in just because he's won before and people know who he is. But I would love to see one of the Shogun actors win this one.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Which still makes me mad that Cosmo Jarvis got snubbed. I mean, yeah.
Well, would you nominate him as a lead or support?
He ran for lead.
I think he was a lead, right?
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
He was.
Oh, that's what he was running for. Okay.
Yeah, he was co-running lead with Hironada.
Yeah.
But he didn't get in, sadly.
Yeah.
I feel so sad. He's a fellow Armenian.
Fantastic performance too.
Oh yeah, he had the most memeable moments of the show too.
It's such a badass name, right? Cosmo Jarvis.
Yeah.
When I tell people you see that show with Cosmo Jarvis, they think I'm talking about a fictional character in the show.
Well, then his actual character name is like John Blackthorne or something like that.
It's like normal, normal name.
And then he's just got that voice, that amazing Cosmo Jarvis.
Let me tell you, I will draw a map with the free world.
A woman must be respected for her purity. How dare you, savages! Supporting actress in a drama. Oh my goodness, 4 people were nominated for the morning show alone on this one.
Maybe I should watch those.
Because it's Nicole Berry, who I don't know very well, Greta Lee, who I do know fairly well, Karen Pittman, who I don't know very well, and Holland Taylor, who I do know very well. So I guess it's just the thing. They have so many high caliber actors on there. They're just like, submit everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elizabeth Debicki, who actually might win this also.
I like her a lot as Lady Di as well. I've seen that season. I've seen her performances.
Christine Baranski for The Gilded Age, who's also really great. Like, I mean, she's one of those actresses who's just everywhere and she's always good. So,
yeah.
And then Leslie Manville, who I forgot was Princess Margaret in this show. I love Leslie Manville. She's great. So, if you don't know who she is, she was in Phantom Thread. Also, she's the one who got the nomination out of nowhere for that movie. So, I actually liked Phantom Thread a lot. I don't know why. I can't explain it because I know that it's a lot of just talking. I wish I did. I don't know what it is about that movie. That just like, I keep waiting for the thing to happen. Well, maybe that's what I didn't I wasn't waiting for something to happen. I'm like, oh, what's this saucy conversation between frustrated lovers? I'll say, even though they weren't really loving each other. It's the most twisted love story, which is weird because I love I love Licorice Pizza, which the director did later. So I really liked that too. Then quickly through here, I don't want to waste, take too much of your time. Sorry about that. No. I want to make sure you get your kids and that stuff. So supporting actor in limited anthology, Jonathan Bailey for Fellow Travelers. Again, don't know what the show is. Same. Robert Downey Jr. for The Sympathizer, which is like the only thing that anyone ever talked about with that show was, oh man, Robert Downey Jr. is so good in that show. Yeah, he's wearing different hats and saying different accents, and he is good. He's good. I haven't finished it. I probably won't, but he's fun to watch. Just by star power and the fact he won an Oscar, he's probably going to win this category too. Yeah, probably. Tom Goodman Hill for Baby Reindeer. John Hawkes for True Detective Night Country, who's also a good actor. So yeah, I like John Hawkes a lot. Lamar Morris, who's an actor I like a lot because he was in that movie Game Night back in the day. He was the okay. Yeah, he was the one who was like, man, I do Denzel like this. You know? Hey, that's great. Lewis Pullman in Lessons in Chemistry. I recall, who is Lewis Pullman? He was Bob in Top Gun Maverick. Yes. Okay. I just saw it right there. Top Gun Maverick. Yeah. Wow. Who thought he's excellent as Calvin. I didn't like him as Calvin at first, but he grows on me. And excellent performance. I like this nomination. And this one's sad that Treat Williams died. Yeah, that is really sad. Yeah, he was great in the show too. Yeah. All right, and then we got supporting actress for limited series, Dakota Fanning for Ripley, which it's nice to see Dakota Fanning back in movies and TV
I think
again.
she's better than Paltrow, and I don't mean to put down Paltrow. That's not a put. Paltrow's great. I think Dakota Fanning's better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Moving
at least
on.
she got this after. At least she got this after getting The Watchers getting thoroughly.
The Watchers is horrible. Dakota
It's really
Fanning is
bad.
amazing in Ripley. The Watchers is so bad. Please don't
Yeah.
watch it.
Oh,
no, I shouldn't say that. That's rude. But
No,
I
you're
hate
right.
it so
Hey,
much.
nobody did watch it. It flopped. So
I was so like, no. I know the lore of that thing when the twist is revealed in The Watchers, and I read a lot of George MacDonald books. He's one of my favorite childhood authors. So the twist in The Watchers, which I won't spoil, it made me angry. So if you love The Watchers, it's because I'm being a precious little book boy. I apologize. Let's move on.
It was dumb. It was very dumb. Lily Gladstone for another show I've never heard of called Under the Bridge, but hey, I like Lily.
Oh, I have a friend named Larry who watches that, who has a Real Early Talk podcast. I believe it's called Real is REEL, like real. So yeah, he loved Under the Bridge, and Lily Gladstone, of course, is awesome.
Yep. Jessica Gunning and Nava Mao for Baby Reindeer, which I believe...
Baby Reindeer's got a lot then.
Yeah, and Nava Mao is a transgender woman, so that's a huge thing for them.
Wow. So. Okay.
Because that was a big deal. And then, if I recall, Lily Gladstone and Kali Reese for True Detective, I think, are the first Indigenous Native women to be nominated for an Emmy as well. So,
yeah,
that's
cool.
Aja Nomi King for Lessons in Chemistry playing Harriet.
I think Harriet should have had her own Apple TV Plus show. Not my decision though, but there is so much going on with this character that it felt very shoehorned in at a lot of the times. She shines very bright in this. It's kind of annoying. It doesn't. I've talked about it in the review on oneofus.net. Lessons in Chemistry. She should have had her own show, but I am glad she's got this nomination, I guess.
Fair enough. And then Diane Lane for Feud also.
I thought she was the worst of the Swans, so this is an interesting nomination for me.
It's weird.
I like Diane Lane, but
I've also not been thrilled with a lot of her recent stuff. Like, I mean, you were on the review with me. I hated that show. Why? The adaptation that they did for it, where I'm like, man, you guys took a really great comic and you just did nothing with it. And I kind of felt that her plot line was the weakest plot line in Why in this entirety. So
it was here too. Yeah, it's very okay. All right then. It's
fair enough. Rushing through here, comedy directing. Now, the directing category is interesting because a bunch of shows got represented as you got nothing else but this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, Abbott Elementary. So now, both, to be fair, these two episodes of The Bear are good. Fishes and Honeydew. Now they did that because technically Forks was also directed by Christopher Storer, and I guess there's some rule that you can't like double submit yourself. So, I don't know if that's actually the case, but it seems to be the case because usually they'll submit someone else if they're going to submit another episode for that show. So in this case, Rami Youssef is the most popular name amongst the directors there. So
I see. Yeah.
If only I actually kept watching Rami, but I hated season 2 so much I never wanted to watch the show again. The Gentleman, just out of nowhere, got a directing nomination for Guy Ritchie. So
Guy Ritchie doesn't stop working, does he?
No,
he's released like 6 movies in 2 years and 2 TV shows,
and only one of them is maybe good.
Yeah.
I heard people liked The Gentleman, but not like one of those like, oh, it's a really great show. It's like, it's fun,
Yeah, that was our reaction to it. There's a guy in a chicken suit. It's fun.
Hacks also got nominated. And then this show that we keep talking about because it keeps getting nominated, and I don't know a single person who's watched it, the Miss Pat Show.
This is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah. No, it's not, because we talked about it last time we talked about nomination.
Really? Did I say it's the first I've heard of it?
Yes.
I'm stuck in the loop. Yeah, stuck in the loop. I need to commit to seeing it.
And then directing for drama, I mean, The Crown, Stephen Daltrey's a good director, so I'm not surprised, kind of thing. But it's for the finale, so.
Yeah.
Morning Show. Okay, Mimi Letter is a good director.
Yeah, don't know.
Yeah. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Hiro Murai, we like him.
Yep.
Shogun was nominated for the penultimate episode. Interesting.
Yeah, I think the penultimate's the best one as well.
Yeah, they did a really good job ratcheting tension. So, and Frederick E.O. Toy has been involved with other stuff, including Fallout. It's funny enough.
Oh, you mentioned that earlier,
yeah. Slow Horses. I mean, yeah, again, this is its year to finally break out. And then Winning Time, the show that just got canceled. You know,
I enjoyed Winning Time, but
I liked the first season. I didn't watch the second season.
It's fine.
It seemed to be the problem that it costs so much and it's
I feel like everyone kind of knew it was getting canceled, so didn't really dive into the second season.
Yeah, that's what killed it, is that it got too expensive and their viewership wasn't very strong. So they're like, screw it, this is last season, bye.
And then the Lakers were awesome. The end.
I don't even know they got to that point. I don't know. Yeah. I think they were hoping for more seasons. And then directing for the other stuff, it's the usuals there with Baby Reindeer, Fargo, Feud, Lessons Chemistry, Ripley, and True Detective. Yeah. Now, I didn't know that Gus Van Sant was one of the main directors on Feud.
Oh, cool. No, yep, that's right. I remember that. Seeing his name in the credits each week.
Yep.
And it shows. I like his direction a lot. I like his characterizations. I like his theatrical performance to your friends, but deep down you're like, who am I? I've always felt he's kind of that type of storyteller.
Which is weird because it feels like, again, flip a coin. Gus Van Sant either directs really great stuff or that terrible Suicide Forest movie that he did.
I don't know if I know what that is.
The one with Matthew McConaughey and Ken Watanabe.
No, never. I don't know.
It screened at Cannes. Everyone hated it. It was never talked about again.
He's before I get ahead of myself, was he Dead Poets Society or no?
No, that was what's his name? It's director.
I'm always getting that guy confused with Gus Van Sant, so I apologize for my rant.
If it's Dead Poets Society, wasn't Dead Poets Society? Oh, you can see me searching right there.
Yeah, I have done this my whole life.
Yes, Peter Weir. I love Peter Weir.
That's the guy I was just talking about. Apologies, everybody. I meant Peter Weir.
Peter Weir is the guy.
But I'm sure Gus Van Sant is great as well.
Yeah, Peter Weir did Master Commander and that stuff too, which
was beautiful and underappreciated, and that should be a series on FX. But we'll see what happens.
You know what? Honestly, with the movie where everyone loved it, but it was too expensive to keep going, it would make a great TV series if they did.
Yeah, so I think so too. Very good.
Then writing, we got, the usuals: Abbott, Bear, Girls, Five Eva, and the other two. The shows that I still never see and don't know anyone talks about, but they keep getting nominations for writing.
I've heard of Girls 5 Eva, but I also haven't seen it.
Yeah, and then the other two, I remember we talked about it where I think you were the only guy who knew what it was.
What is it streaming on?
Max? It's Max. It's the one with like the siblings who like
were actors, right?
Yeah. Well, and they have like some feud with their other sibling or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Hacks, and then What We Do in the Shadows got another writing nomination.
Nice.
Yeah. And then writing for drama, The Crown, Fallout got a writing nomination. I was surprised. I thought it would do better with directing, but it's a decently well written show too. So, when I say that, it's not that it's badly written. It's aiming more to be like fun and kooky kind of thing, but it is well done. Graham Wagner is an established writer, and Geneva Robertson Dwyer did Captain Marvel. But this was something for her to show that she had some other talent than that, kind of thing.
You know what I think it is? A lot of the characters are written in a post-apocalyptic world, obviously, but with hope, and characters that hope for something, even something as simple as, gee, I hope I get a promotion, is so rare in post-apocalyptic stories.
It's not
everyone's just kind of time to wallow, like, what are you wallowing about today? Well, this.
Well, and that's very much in line with Bethesda Fallout, because like old Fallout 1 and 2 are much more dour-ish films or games, even with their comedy. Like Bethesda for Fallout 3, New Vegas they produced, but for Fallout 4 also, the show is very much more in line with Fallout 4 in its tone. Yeah. So that fits, that jives. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Shogun, two Shogun writing ones.
Both great episodes. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Honestly, I think the pilot should probably win for writing, but they're both great, well-written episodes too.
Yeah.
And Slow Horses, written by not that Will Smith. Different Will Smith.
This is an interesting comeback for him.
Now, Will Smith does do other stuff that's not acting because he's the producer on Cobra Kai, but this is William Smith.
William Smith.
William. Now, I will just sum up some other stuff here. We already went through all the major categories. Ahsoka actually got represented for several tech categories.
Cool.
Mostly just sound, visuals, the stuff that it did well. kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it is cool that Ahsoka Tano looks like Ahsoka Tano. I didn't think that would translate very well,
If only she
especially
acted
with
like
the art style of the Clone Wars. I like the way Cad Bane looked too in Boba Fett. I know nobody watched it,
I
but
watched
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for watching that. So many people are
Did
like, "Why are you watching this?" I'm like,
well,
kids, come on.
I sat through the acolytes, so I could sit. Ooh. If
I
I had,
actually enjoyed Boba Fett a lot.
I was gonna say I thought you said I actually enjoyed the acolyte.
So
I'm like, no,
Acolyte, I thought was
no.
fun. Acolyte was fun. Well,
Boba Fett what that had over Acolyte is that it feels like a Star Wars show. You know,
yeah, it's got the Tatooine thing and a clear narrative. A
yeah,
lot of Star Wars
it's not a
shows should
deep
be simple like that.
it's not a deep narrative, but it's a straightforward narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah. One surprise here for anthology writing, Black Mirror. Wow,
And which one?
how
Joan is awful.
it's
I'm
the
not
it's
sure I've seen that one.
it was the first episode of the new season. The one with Selma Hayek in it. Yeah, so
No, I didn't see it. Sorry.
yeah, no, I didn't see it either. So it's just so sad to see that Black Mirror fell so hard. It's just like, man, it used to be so good.
Yeah.
That Mr. Monk, the Monk movie got nominated also. I gotta be honest, I didn't really care for it very much. I thought
Is that the Tony Shalhoub monk?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I had no idea.
It,
Monk's Last Case. Wow.
it's a very long.
Oh, we don't have Peacock in Canada. That's why.
Yeah, it's a very long episode of Monk, but the problem is it's more like the later season Monks, where it was starting to get really weak, kind of thing. Where I'm like,
Oh, okay.
well, and also I don't want to spoil everything, but it has a subplot related to the character that feels like it's a big regression of the Monk character. I think they're kind of hoping like, hey, Psych got more than one movie after they canceled. Maybe we could get another Mr. Monk Last Case, kind of thing. Mr. Monk's last case. But
the actual last case of Mr. Monk? Question mark?
Probably not. Probably not, though, to be fair. Unfrosted got a nomination. The Jerry Seinfeld Pop-Tart movie.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything good about that. I haven't seen it.
The interesting thing is, all 5 of these movies that are up for TV movie, they didn't get any other nominations. They are only nominated in this category.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. They all just kind of, it was a bad year for TV movies.
Yeah.
Animated program was Blue Eye Samurai, which kind of just came out of nowhere to stun everybody.
People love that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Bob's Burgers, Scavenger's Reign, which I've never seen.
That's on Netflix right now. It started out on Max, but now you can watch it on Netflix, at least in the States. And it's wonderful. Please watch it, everybody. Not so it wins awards, but so a season 2 happens. I like high concept sci-fi. Pantheon was one of my favorite shows. No second season because nobody watched it. Again, it was just one of those like the marketing for these things are all like, here's a picture of a cartoon character. Okay, thanks. And it sucks that so many Adult Swim's the only thing that markets its programming, I swear.
Yeah.
Okay, rant over.
No, I agree with you, man. Simpsons, just because. Well, just
I'm not sure which episode that is, but
the Night of the Living Wage. I'm assuming it's their Treehouse of Horror, or maybe not.
No, it's not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a work
35th season. Yeah.
And then X-Men 97, which now I only saw a few episodes of this. I liked what I saw. It didn't blow me away.
Remember, it's the one that everyone talks about. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so it's cool. I liked it. I wasn't in love with it either. But to be fair, I didn't really grow. I watched some episodes of the 90s series, but by the time I really got into comics and stuff, X-Men Evolution was the thing that was out, which I think that's a highly underrated X-Men show.
A lot of people do. Yeah,
its art design is held up really well compared to the old X-Men cartoon. So.
See, for X-Men 97, I watched it, and the first 5 episodes, I felt, oh my god, this is incredible. Why did I stop reading comics? And then the next 5 episodes answered that question, like, oh right, this is why. Oh no, especially in the 90s, like everything that's 90s is in X-Men 97, and a lot of it is cringe to me.
I read the synopses and I was just like, oh my gosh, there's so much plot to pack into this fairly simple story, because even the summaries were starting to lose me. I'm like, okay, so we got,
and they're only 20-minute episodes too,
and now they're in the future, but now they're in the past, and then there's people who are dead but not dead, there's clones, people get sent to alternate dimensions.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The 90s was a convoluted time for comic books.
It's still a convoluted time. Have you tried
Yeah,
reading
yeah.
modern comics these days?
Well, I guess that's true. I haven't.
Yeah. Quickly, guest actors. I mean, it's a lot of the Bear getting represented for comedy, which, I mean, just get ready for Jamie Lee Curtis to win this one because she's gonna, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I don't know for guest actor, but it sounds like Ryan Gosling might, because people really liked him in that episode.
Oh, let me see.
For Saturday Night
Live. Yeah, he is really funny.
Lexi, right before this, she showed me the skit where he's Beavis and Butthead. It was cute. It was kind of silly, but
I kind of would like, out of these, if it was me choosing, this is a tough one because I actually like John Bernthal a lot in his very short appearances in The Bear.
I think altogether in The Bear, he has like maybe 5 to 10 minutes of screen time.
Yeah. And that's just so guess to me when it's shorter. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I also think Bob Odenkirk is incredible. But is he only incredible because of his chemistry with John Bernthal? It's like a tough call.
Yeah. I mean, Will Poulter was great in his episode. And then Christopher Lloyd getting his first ever Emmy nomination, too.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I think he should probably win then.
Freaking... The man has been 70 for the last 40 years. Yeah. So who knows how much longer we have him for. Like, I love Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah. I watched that Back to the Future musical. The guy playing, I'll say, I don't remember his name. That's on me. The guy playing Doc, incredible. But then when he starts singing, it's a beautiful, amazing voice. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like Doc Brown anymore.
Well, unless you want to hear him sound like Christopher Lloyd. Gotta get back in time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably what drama, I wanted. Like you said, there's a bunch of cameos, and John Turturro was one of them. And Paul Dano. But the
Paul Dano as Hot Neighbor was a weird one to me, but
Hot Neighbor.
He's always kind of a chameleon, that Paul Dano. I didn't know it was him until the final episode, and I finally read the credits on Hot Neighbor, and I was like, oh, that was Paul Dano.
Yeah, but do you know who's going to actually win this one? The guy who's the real chameleon? Nestor Carbonell. I did not recognize him at all when I first saw the episode. I'm like, it's the dude from Lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a great character also.
Honestly, yeah, Rodriguez stole the show every time he showed up. And actually liked some of the changes they made with his character. Like, they're very subtle changes, but the boat race that they do.
Yeah.
That actually happens. Fun. Yeah, that happens differently in the book from what I read. And I actually kind of like that, and the other stuff made more sense. And we'll wrap up just to say, Claire Foy getting nominated for once again showing up for the Queen for no reason. I mean, the Crown for no reason. So, yeah.
I always thought that people would like her in Outlander more. Or am I wrong? Is she not in that at all? Am I confused?
You're asking the wrong person. I've never seen Outlander.
Okay.
And then last one was just that, hey, Invincible did not go empty-handed. They got a voice acting nomination for Sterling K. Brown, of all people.
Yeah. My kids watch the older ones, old teenagers. Don't get mad at me, everybody. My old geezer teenagers watch Invincible, and they love Sterling K. Brown's character on that. I haven't watched season 2 yet.
He was good. It was great acting. He's just also barely in it, to be fair. So.
Yeah, well, it's a guest character, I'm guessing. I've read the comic, so I know
he's in the first and last episode for sure, and I think he made like a couple odd appearances throughout. But yeah, so we wrap it up there. I know you got to get going, but thank you, Brad. It's nice to talk about this stuff again.
It's always a pleasure, dude, and thanks so much for inviting me on. Keep an eye on the prize alive. I think I tried to be on a show, but
yeah. Hey, I think that's our cue to go, everybody. So, hi, nice to meet you. Oh, so cute.
And now he's famous. That's it. I've ruined him. I'm kidding.
Oh, for all the people who watch this channel, all 40 of you, thank you. Okay, let's wrap this up. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. All right, we're good to go. Thank you, Bradley.
You're welcome. I'll start.
Wait, why is it not done?